Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much, Vanessa and Denise, for asking me to join you today. The backdrop to this latest Newsworks effectiveness study is, of course, that we're all living in a world which has become always on, with a continuous supply of what is seemingly limitless information via smartphones increasingly being recognised both as a blessing and a curse. I guess this morning gives us a pertinent chance to just take a minute and pause and reflect on the impact of these changes. As we all know, consumer behaviour has changed significantly in recent years, driven by the rise of social media and also by that of e-commerce. And the pressure in the boardrooms right across the country have changed quite significantly too. Some of you may be aware that at PwC we conduct a survey of 1,200 CEOs from around 85 countries around the world every year. Now, whilst the UK CEOs are the most confident they've been since 2015, just 36% of them are expecting economic return to improve over the next 12 months. We believe that this dynamic could actually exacerbate what we've now been witnessing for a number of years, that businesses are working to ever-shortening time horizons with a corresponding rise in the importance of quarterly reporting, and that the tenure of C-suite executives, of course, is getting shorter, and within that, particularly that of CMOs. These changes in consumer behaviour, along with current C-suite pressures, we believe have led to an unhealthy situation of many advertisers moving away from the long-term brand building and profitable growth in pursuit of short-term gains. Now, there's lots of great work out there, and in particular an excellent body of work over the number of years in this area from Les Binet and Peter Field on behalf of the IPA, who talk specifically to this issue, and most recently in their marketing effectiveness in the digital era study. They maintain that there's actually been a destructive trend of advertisers developing very short-term strategies which have led to numerous important false conclusions about effectiveness. They assert that the use of short-term metrics, including, for example, targeting on efficiency goals like return on marketing investment, just leads advertisers to cut advertising budgets and sacrifice reach in favour of what they describe as low-hanging fruit in the pursuit of growth. Now, whilst, of course, for limited periods, this may well produce some attractive returns, they observe that invariably this is at the expense of base sales and also margins. Their data bank of case studies points to short-term boost in sales, but not, critically, to long-term profitable growth. Another superb study recently, the Mounting Risk to Marketing Effectiveness by Enders from 2017, also supports this. Their report states that mounting evidence suggests a focus on quick returns and cheap media at all costs. This is hurting marketing effectiveness, particularly when measured long-term return on investment, brand equity and consumer satisfaction. They actually identified a dramatic shift away from brand to activation advertising as a key driver, from a ratio of 60-40 a few years ago to 50-50 today. They concluded that the marketing industry has a structural bias towards short-termism. They also went on to say that, in effect, we believe that a nuanced analog tool has been replaced by a too simplistic digital tool with unverified consequences for advertisers. Now, obviously, this can have potentially devastating effects too on established media and is also unlikely to have a positive effect on brands going forward. In recent years, we've seen this play out time and time again, and there are numerous cases out there of where established media has been dropped from the media mix with little or poor justification, either being priced out of consideration or being portrayed as having worse ROI than online formats, neither of which, of course, is necessarily true. Print media and their associated digital versions, in particular, have been more aggressively substituted for social media and search than any other over this time. Vanessa referenced the Radio Centre Re-Evaluated Media Report, and in a similar vein, they highlighted what I believe to be a really critical gap between the perceived and actual effectiveness of media. This serves as a reminder to the marketing world of the enduring power of proven media such as television, radio and print in all its forms. Now, from a qualitative point of view, PwC and Newsworks in 2016 produced a study called The Battle for Attention, which also clearly demonstrated the link between consumer trust in proven media and advertising, which was in stark contrast to the relative lack of trust in social media. The study, of course, predated the current high-profile challenges that many of the big social media giants are facing. For us at PwC, these themes, the importance of building brands and profits, and in doing so with advertising in a trusted context, are supplemented by a third theme around audience data. The advent of EU GDPR and later in the year the new e-privacy regulation is shining a light on the source and use of personal data, and we'll all be more than aware of that in our respective businesses. But even without this regulation, we believe the marketing world is starting to realise that the quality of third-party data is often questionable at best, and that in contrast, first-party data is frequently of higher quality. UK media owners have built businesses over many decades by understanding and appealing to their audiences. It feels like it's time to remind ourselves that they know their customers and their customers' preferences extremely well. So it's in this context that we really welcome this new study by Newsworks and Benchmarking as being a very important step forward and part of this bigger conversation. The main thesis for this research, that marketers should pay close attention to brand building and profits when assessing marketing effectiveness, could not be more relevant within this current narrative. We believe that the insight from this research actually is eminently actionable, but of course there needs to be the will to use it. So our message to advertisers and their agencies is please apply this in your planning. It might just have a more profitable outcome. Thank you.